Right here is over $20,000. What if I told you that just one job could save you over $20,000? Now, when I first started working at this job, y'all, I thought it was just gonna be there to pay my bills. I thought it was just gonna be like something to keep money in my pockets. But the skills and the discipline, is all the stuff that I've learned along the way has actually went far. Which is why y'all need to keep listening, because today I am about to drop you 5 tips that is going to help you make your first $20,000 at your job. So I will be revealing at the end what job that I work. But I do need y'all to remember, it's not necessarily the job itself. It's necessarily how you look at money, the discipline, also as well as the lessons that this job teaches you that will keep money rolling in your pockets. What's good, YouTube? Yours J4 here, man. Currently 11:30 at night, but hey, y'all know the grind don't stop. The grind don't stop no matter what time it is. My last video went crazy about the 9 to 5 and how I saved at my 9 to 5, but I said let's go more in depth. So I pieced together 5 tips that will help y'all stack y'all first 20,000 from this job. Also, that will help you get through the job. Be sure to watch this video all the way through, because if you miss just one tip, this one tip can be making your job a lot harder. If you miss just one of these tips, it may be the reason why you aren't making your first 20,000 or being able to save your first 20,000. I need y'all to really focus up and listen in, because I'm about to drop some game on y'all. Getting into number 5, man. Getting into number 5, and we're starting off crazy. Work as much as you can. Work as much as you can. That is number 5. Work as much as you can. Me personally, do 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. Come home, cut hair, and then I do YouTube videos on the side after that. But you want to work at least 12 hours 6 days a week. And one of my favorite, it's not necessarily a quote, but it's something that he said. It's Brian Tracy, for those of you who know Brian Tracy, very rich and famous speaker. One thing that he said that really sat with me was everything after 8 hours. Everything after work your 8 hours at that job goes towards yourself and your goals. Everyone who works 8-hour shifts is just doing enough to get by. That is basically just your average paycheck to paycheck. But see, the difference between the 1% and the 99% is that 1%. They put in that extra 1% effort that y'all are not willing to put in. Majority of the people are working 8 hours, 40 hours a week. Be that person that gets that 60 hours, works some 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. Try to be that type of person, because that's pushing you more towards that 1% than that 99% ever can. So, getting into number 2, slacking is whack. Slacking is whack. That is number 2. Slacking is whack. Just don't overwork yourself. And I want to stress that last part. Just do not overwork yourself. You want to get used to that feeling of having to work hard, because guess what? Everything great in life, everything that's worth something and valuable in life never comes easy. Get used to that feeling of working hard, because when you're working towards your goals, you gotta work hard. Don't work hard for the company. You're working hard for yourself to build those traits. One great example I want to use for this, man, and that's how I really need y'all to listen. Think about the people at work who slack. I just want you to think of the people at your job who slack at work. They go to the bathroom every 10 minutes, or they always ducking off, hiding somewhere. Those people will never get anywhere in life. Now think about the person who's busting their ass at work, and you may be like, damn, like, what the hell are you working this hard for? I'll tell you exactly what y'all probably thinking. You're probably thinking, damn, this person is busting their ass and they're getting paid the same amount of pay as me, and I'm working normally. But see, what you're failing to realize is that person has more potential than you will ever have just working normally. That person who is busting their ass for that same amount of pay just because, that person has way more potential than you. They're already in that habit, that trait of working hard. Let's say that same person goes and gives out that same work towards a goal that he's trying to accomplish. You know he already working hard. So what make you think he's not going to work hard or even harder for the goal that he wants to accomplish outside of work. 9 times out of 10, these people that are working hard, they probably do go home and rest most of the days, but these people have the most amount of potential. So if that person is you, you have a lot of potential. Moving on to number 3, man. These are all great tips and I really need y'all to listen. So make sure y'all subscribe. Moving on to number 3, man. Make friends at work. This is one of the tips that I love. This is one of the best tips, because guess what? When you make friends at work, it's going to make time go by way quicker. And when time is going by quick, it's like, damn, you don't even feel it, bro. So it's like, damn, you in this mode. You're working. You talking to people. You still working, but you know, you communicating with people. You talking to them. You having laughs in between work sessions, and you know that's gonna make time go by extremely quicker. It's like you're not even gonna feel the time going anywhere. And guess what? By that time, your body already done worked that 12 hours. So by the time you realize, damn, I just worked a full 12-hour shift, your body gonna be like, damn, I feel normal. Like, you're not even gonna realize. It's really the best feeling. Getting into number 4, I urge y'all not to do this, but some people may say otherwise. Don't do anything at work that requires you to be held up at a higher standard for the same amount of pay as the person who's working normally or the person who's slacking. One great example of this at my job, a thing called ambassadors, which is basically face of the crew members. But the thing I don't understand, they're being paid the same as the new person who's coming in, who they're training. Another thing with that is that's going to add more stress, because now they're expecting more of you. When they're not expecting too much of you, that's when you can just get by with your shift. The whole entire point of this video is to ease stress and build money and save money. Also, one main thing about this key tip, you absolutely do not want to get promoted to a manager or anything in a higher up chain. I know a lot of people may say otherwise, because you know you can save 20,000 quicker, you can save your first 10,000 quicker. Yes, that while that is true, that is also getting you into that 9-to-5 lifestyle. That is not the end goal. The end goal is not to work a 9-to-5. A 9-to-5 should simply and only be a stepping stool to what you really want to do out of life and what you really desire. So if your living standards are super high, you can't cut your living expenses. If you can't cut that money down and it requires you to, you know, take that promotion, okay, that's the only exception. Other than that, you do not want to apply for that role. You don't want to be in that role, because you absolutely do not want to get used to that 9-to-5 work lifestyle. The only person who you should live up to their expectations is yourself. What do you expect of yourself? Getting into number 5, this is one of my most favorite. You're gonna look at this completely different. You guys are gonna love this analogy of it. Think of life as a video game. Use your power-ups. And power-ups to me are breakfast in the morning, vending machine snacks at work. Energy drinks are a great example of power-ups. When you're feeling low on energy, caffeine, boom, just like that, you're back up. You're back up and you're back up and running. Use your power-ups. Think of life as a game, man. You want to use your power-ups to level up. You want to use your power-up to beat the bosses. The bosses to you could be working that 12-hour shift and getting through that 12-hour shift. How I like to think of this is, let's say you work that 12-hour shift, you're on your 6th day. You're a little bit tired, you're starting to feel it because now you done worked in there 6 days straight. You haven't eaten in the morning. Use them vending machines, bro. Use that energy drink. I know a lot of people may be like, don't use the vending machines at work. That's false. I wouldn't completely say that. I would say limit how much you use the vending machine for sure. Don't just go buying stuff like that every time you want to, or you craving something. No, that's different. Use that vending machine to your advantage. You know, get your energy back up so that you are able to push out the rest of that 12-hour shift. Job I work at is Amazon. Make sure y'all subscribe. I don't have no clamp juice today. Click on some clamp juice and make some cheese, man.